Good evening and welcome to United Sauce and Wingers. My name is Dominic and this is the Monday Night Sauce Show every Monday at 7 p.m. Yesterday we beat Newcastle 3-1. Everybody was going on it. Everybody was getting just crazy about it. But today it's all about Anthony Martial. This is a special show dedicated to the Anthony Martial debate. The figure that he is torn the fan base, and I don't like when the fan base get torn. To join me today, we've got Aiden. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad.
Good, man. I appreciate you.
Forward to talk,
mate. We have to get this out, mate. I appreciate you coming, mate. This is important. This is important. There was actually comments straight away, even before we went live, in terms of like how people are feeling about this. And we got Jacob here saying Martial isn't the only one. I have about 20 snapshots from that game, bringing in the failures of Matic, Fred, AWB, Rashford. All guilty of one thing or another because it was really poor. He goes on to say, but if you watch the game back on, player goes to stoppage time in the first half when Greenwood does that nice turn and spins on the right-hand side, and then watch Martial's movement. It's the same thing over and over. He wants the ball to feet because he obviously has dribbling talent and believes he can beat a man. That's fine, but you have to offer variety at this level. Jacob goes on to say, for me, it's not enough. He doesn't actually beat enough players one-on-one compared to explosive Sahar, Koeman, Rashford. I just don't know what he brings. One point I'm going in straight away, because I'm getting to this straight away about Martial, is that he's comparing him to wingers. What is Martial? First of all, could we have to clear this up? What is Martial's position?
I think the answer is he's neither really. He's got elements of both. Like if you look at the elements of a striker, look, okay, so scrappy goals, heading, holding up the ball, movement, finishing. He's got the finishing. He's got the heading to an extent. He can hold up the ball. He hasn't got the movement. And I actually don't think he scores half chances enough. I think if you give him 10 chances, he'll score 9. If you give him 4 half chances, he'll score 1. I think that's the difference with people like Cavani and Kane. But again, like if you talk about a winger, looks for a pass before a goal. Martial does do that quite a lot. Very good at dribbling in. Very good at getting past the man. He can do that. So he's both really. He's not one or the other. He's both, and we've seen he can hold up the ball like from the wing. He did it when Cavani was there, but he's a bit of both, really.
Yeah, I think this is a problem when look, the game happened yesterday. We beat Newcastle. I said it on my previous match reaction. You can check it out. I said that it was a good result in terms of 3 points. That's the most important thing. But the football was poor, and I'll never back down on that. The football, and I think really that's the one thing all the fan base agree on. The football was poor. The commentator said it. Gary Neville said it. Flicking Jermaine Gina said it. My mum does it. Watch football. She said it. The football was poor. It was poor.
Yeah.
But then what happens is, all right, for me, okay, if someone's not playing well, the matter of the fact is Martial is not playing well. It's a fact. He's not playing well.
Yeah.
He's in a poor run of form. We've seen other players in the poor run of form, and they get slated too. We've seen it with Pogba. We've seen it with Rashford. When you're not doing your duty, what you get paid for, you get absolutely heated up, and it's a fact. I will not defend that he is not producing what we signed him up for. But one thing we have to look at, he is just going for a bad patch. A bad patch.
Yeah.
If you look at what happened yesterday, like people started going crazy, blah blah blah. He scored 23 goals in all comps last season. 23 goals. You do
with
not
only one pen.
Only one pen, right? You do not turn into a bad player overnight. I can't get behind people saying sell Martial. Are you joking me? Are you honestly? All right. I look at Martial. I look at his game, and I understand he's not one of those people that he's a run behind. He's never a run behind person. He's a ball to feet. Okay, he's a ball to feet, and I can't back him in the sense of like, okay, he's not running enough. I know he's not running enough. I know he's not tracking back, and I know he sulks and so forth. But how are we expecting to make this guy better if we're pushing him down? If we're saying sell the guy, how is that going to help Aiden if we're pushing him down?
No, it's not going to. I think one thing that I think football Twitter loves to do, it loves to look for the problem before it looks for the solution. If I said to you like, oh, okay, so Martial's doing bad, a lot of people would say, okay, well, Martial's not doing X, Y. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. This is what's wrong with him. But why don't you look for what is positive and what you can build on and what you can fix? Because like, I think, if I look at the average Martial tweet, if you took 200 Martial tweets, the majority of them will be can't finish, hasn't got the movement, isn't a number 9. But why wouldn't you say he's a very good dribbler, he finishes chances consistently, and he's got a very good technical fundamentals and he can header? So you could say, okay, well, how could you improve his like maybe scrappy finishing? How could you do X, Y? And I think that's the issue. People want to criticize before they want to improve. And I think it comes from a preconceived idea of a player. And it just comes from the fact that people don't like players and people want players to do bad at points. I think there's a lot of our fan base just wants Martial to do crap.
I heard you. You know what it is, right? And this leads on to a perfect point. I was thinking about where are we as a football club? We're not in a good place. We're not in a good place, Aiden. Like, people are getting a bit down, getting just bored, watching Premier League games. We want to see different tournaments. We want to just have nice weekends. We're getting bored. People are getting tired. I've seen it all over Twitter. We're fed up that something that's supposed to bring us freaking happiness and joy is bringing us down. And we're not really used to that because Manchester United has always been up there or thereabouts. I'm not disrespecting any lower team, but we've got higher expectations based on the we have, the history we have, and the money that's backing us, right? What the money we have. Regardless, people might say, no, haven't spent money. We have spent money. It's just we haven't spent it well, right? So how can we carry on thinking this way and wanting to reach the upper echelons of freaking success if we keep putting players like Martial down? How many times have you heard that song, Tony Marshall? He came from everybody.
I love that song.
Everybody's singing it, having the time of their life. When he's going for a bad patch, right, and you can tell he's going for a bad patch, why say, oh, he's lazy, oh, he can't do this? Aiden, honestly, I've seen this clip so many times on Twitter about, have you seen when Dan James makes a cross and Martial, and they're like, oh, look, that was one, you know how many crosses Dan James made? To no one. To no one. But they just clip it to make it look like also, the cross was terrible. That cross was
crap. Yeah, it was crap.
Right? Strange they keep his hands, but oh no, Martial should have been there, getting there. Look, I get it. Maybe he was making a late run. Maybe he didn't care. Whatever it is, I know he needs to work harder. I know he needs to try. I need to get himself out of this sulk period that he's in and step up and be the striker or the forward he is. But how is he going to do that when Manchester United fans are saying, sell him? Sell him? Are you joking me? We can't get rid of Phil Jones, right? We can't get rid of Phil Jones. We barely got rid of Rojo, right? We barely have any strikers as it is, or wingers as it is, that are really effective. And you want to go and sell Martial? Some people might say, oh, look, sell Martial and get a better one in. Do you really trust this board to go out and find the right player who's going to light it up? Do you think the board can do it, Aiden?
No, I'm telling you, I'm telling you for sure. It's not even that they won't do it. Like, even if the board could, even if the board was incredible, I don't like, people hate me for saying this, but I think Martial, in terms of his ability, he could be one of the top 5 wingers in the world. I 100% believe that. I haven't seen anyone dribble like he does for Man United in a while. It's ridiculous. Remember that clip versus Real Madrid when he absolutely sent Marcelo? Bro, I think, honestly, his touch is silky. It's incredible. His spontaneity in some of the movements he does and the tricks he does is ridiculous. His dribbling is incredible. I think his finishing rate is ridiculously consistent. And I think if you get rid of Martial, I don't think there's many players that will have that ability naturally. I think, the output argument is there. But again, it's like, why are you getting onto Martial for not getting on the other cross? It's like going into saying, Rashford, why aren't you heading the ball? Yeah. It's not what he's good at. And it's like, you wouldn't go say to Cavani, why are you not on the wing dribbling past people? If I put a clip up,
40 yards. Or why do you don't shoot for 40 yards? Cavani can never shoot from 40 yards.
No, he couldn't. He's not a Pogba. He's not a Fernandez. But if I put a clip up here of Cavani on the wing, I could easily find clips of Cavani on the wing and him flunking it. What am I going to come say? Oh, why didn't he dribble past 5 people? And I think the problem is because Martial's a complete player and he's not one or the other. People expect things of him they shouldn't expect. It's like with Pogba. People expected him to make the last man tackle, pick up the ball, dribble past 5 people, rainbow flick, and then dink the keeper. That's what they expected him to do. But why are you expecting Martial to do something that he's never going to do? Utilize his strengths before you criticize his deficiencies. You only criticize deficiencies once you've utilized the strengths. And I think that's something you need to do with Martial.
100%. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like the video. It takes 2 seconds. And subscribe if you're new. Appreciate it. Look, we're Manchester United fans just like you. We want to see success just like you. We want our club to get back to the right place it deserves to be. The first thing we should not be doing is getting rid of top quality players. I agree with the people out there that saying he's not working hard enough. He's not making chances for himself that we rely on at the moment, individual brilliance, and he could be doing better 100%. But how many times have we seen our players go through slumps and they get out of it? Greenwood has not been scoring. I know he's younger, but if we're talking about football players, really, I know Greenwood, they'll say he's running more. I get it. they're completely different players, and Greenwood is running more. And I'll take that. Greenwood is running more, and that's why he's not getting so much heat. But don't you think Martial would run more if he felt that he wasn't getting racially abused, if he didn't feel that his wife was in danger, if he felt that the fan base would back him when he's going for a slump? If someone's going for a bad period, making them and say, sell him, get him off, he doesn't work hard enough, even if that's true, that's not going to help him. Guys, in the comments, tell me if you want to sell or keep Martial. And I don't want you to say sell or keep. Tell me the reasons why you want to sell him. Actually, I just want to hear really from the people that want to get rid of Martial, because I really want to understand. I was on Twitter and there are loads of people saying, no, he doesn't work hard enough. Other people work better. He should be making chances for himself. To the people that say that Martial should be making chances for himself, I understand what you're saying. He should be making more chances. But how many chances did we have in that game yesterday? How many chances? I think there was 2 big chances.
It was none. Strikers don't do well under us. Like, we know this historically. So
this is the thing, because we say to ourselves, we need to get away from this individual brilliance. We can't rely on it because it's sustainable. But then people are saying, oh yeah, Martial should be doing something just off the bat. He should be doing like 17 step overs, beating 7 men, and just scoring and shooting.
That's what they expect.
His conversion rate is actually better than people realize. But
it's mad.
Do you know what I mean? His conversion rate's a lot better than people realise. I don't really get it. Sean's here. What's Sean saying? He's saying that Sean's had enough of Martial. He talked to me about it before.
Did you read that in Sean's voice? I read that in Sean's voice. Oh, come on, Tom. I read that in Sean's voice.
Tom. Honestly, like, we have to...
oh, come on, Tom.
Honestly, if I'm selling Martial, it'll be good for his and his family's own mental health. You know what? Yeah. I respect that, Ian, because there's a lot of people out there that are just going in on him as a person. Like, I'm seeing some...
Yeah, no, that's mad. Comments. That's mad.
Awful comments. I think we need to give him, before we start judging him and laying him down to slaughter, let's see how this season plays out. Let's see how the season plays out for Ollie. Ollie might not be here next season if the board feels like they haven't met their expectations. But don't put our players down. What's that going to do? What is that honestly going to do? The slander I've seen for Martial is terrible. It's happened for Rashford. It's happened for Pogba. And I see it all the time. And I think it's not going to happen. If this carries on, we're going to get worse and worse and worse. How do you feel, right, if Martial played for like a Leipzig or played for a different team that are playing better as a team? How do you think he'll play?
I'm honestly telling you, I'm telling you this 100%. If Martial started his career at somewhere stable like Liverpool, somewhere stable like City, he grew up. He doesn't have to be a Pep. Maybe it's a Nagelsmann. No one, even a Brendan Rodgers. I genuinely think Martial would be in the conversation with people like Gnabry. I think he's got more technical ability than people. I think he'd be in the conversation with the best of the best of the best. I genuinely think Martial is so good.
Yeah.
But again, like, I do think the point people have is that validity that, you know, he doesn't do enough X, Y. But like, I know that if he went somewhere else, he'd do well. Like, I'm telling you, if Martial went to somewhere like even like Atalanta or something, he'd shell it out. I would shell it out. But I don't know. Do you know what the thing is? Yeah, I struggle to get rid of players that I know have class technical ability.
Yeah,
like, and I'm talking about natural ability, IQ in football ability. I really struggle to just get rid of them. I always say, if they're not doing well, just get someone in to replace them. Don't get rid of them. If there's someone like maybe James that he did well and he's doing less well now, you know, that might have been a purple patch. But you know, Martial, the sky's the limit for him. But yeah, if it was me, I think that I don't even know what I think Martial, but I think we need a little bit. There is an argument to say that when he gets competition, he flops.
Yeah, you know,
statistically is true.
The one thing I would say about Martial, he's not the strongest person, and I don't know what that is.
He's not.
Physically, I mean mentally, in terms of letting him forgetting what people do. Because you know when he has that arrogance to do those chips and he walks around, he's like,
yeah.
I still think he's still a bit nervous. He's still a bit like shy.
Oh, yeah.
He's not really open to like, because he'll be going crazy. The reason people don't, he doesn't really smile. When he smiles, like that's just who he is. You don't have to smile every single time.
Yeah,
Roy Keane wasn't smiling. Do you know what I mean? Roy Keane wasn't shaking hands, smiling. I'd rather there be some flicking heat in that. Like he's just a different player. We'll see what people are saying. Akil's saying, I have no problem in selling Martial if we replace him. Otherwise, what's the point? He'll be at least a squad option. We can't trust the owners. You know what, right? You know when it's not working with a player, right? And you just say, to sell him. And then you're like, okay. And he goes and does well at a different league. Do you ever look inwards? Do you ever look at? Wait a minute. Obviously, he's
Yeah.
not doing well. He's not running the form. Can we ever look at the club, or look at the players, or look at the team? Why is it always just
like Lukaku?
Yeah, it's like look at Lukaku now. He's killing it, right? Granted, it's a slower league and different thing, but he killed it in Everton. But he came to Manchester United and got space jammed. We've space jammed so many players, and now we're alienating another one of our players. He's never been your back. He has never had the media on his back, so it's very hard for him. Very well, Flex saying, just remember the fans said to back Ollie to the end. Don't even back Martial. Neji, my man, saying short-sighted.
That is true.
It's true. Neji saying short-sighted, narrow-minded fan base. Some of our fan base, they are the issue, reactionary people. You know what? This leads on to Carl Lewis, right? Because Carl Lewis, I respect him big time, but he doesn't care about Martial. He says Martial's sold because I'm sick of how United fans are willing to throw our manager and tactics under the bus just to defend someone who doesn't try on the pitch.
See, I don't.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you, right? How can you say that someone doesn't try on the pitch? Like, I mean, all season with someone who scored 23 goals last season, someone who's actually set up most of Bruno's penalties. He set up most of Bruno's penalties on Martial. If he was taking it to the Bruno, his output would be massive. Cavani scored 6 goals this season, around 17 games-ish. Martial scored 4 around 18, 19, or 20, or something like that. The numbers aren't crazy, but because Cavani is running down, and I love it, Cavani's running down balls, you see him flying around like an ant, people don't like it. Why don't we say, and big him up and say, Martial, look, we know you're going for a bad run of form, mate. We see it, and it happens to the best striker in the world. Do you remember Harry Kane? Well, he couldn't score for like how many games?
Yeah.
8, 9 games and so forth. I don't see him chasing down the ball all the time and everything like that. Fine. Tell Martial, you're going for a bad opportunity. Pick yourself up. We back you. We believe in you. We know you got the class. You don't lose it overnight. Keep going, mate. No. The fan base, oh, he's rubbish. Let's clip one part of this game where we had none of the ball anyway and we're playing rubbish. And let's alienate him, make him feel like rubbish, make him feel like he's just turned crap overnight, because that's what we do. We make our players feel like rubbish. If no one thinks that these players go on Twitter and look at what you're saying, you're wrong. They do. They do. And the press like it. The press want to see it. The press want to make a story. I don't want to see our fan base turn to this toxic fan base. Buggy vibes. Only dumb people want to get rid of Martial. Ian, at the same time, I do think Martial needs to make sure he's vocal in terms of how he feels and should be played. You know what? That's a good point, right?
But how do you know that's not true?
This is a good point, Aiden. Do you remember when Zlatan came and took away his shirt? How do you think he felt about that?
Yeah. I mean, he probably got promised. I mean, this is why, like, stuff like Pogba, I can't even blame him if he wanted to get out. Like, they would probably promise titles and signings this never got. Woodward probably said to people like Pogba and Martial, like, look, especially Pogba, like, oh, we're going to get XY player in, we're going to have this sort of long-term plan, and they just didn't deliver it. The thing that I don't like about this Martial thing, is I don't think people understand that there's a difference between, I'd say the best example way I could put it is, Bruno is a floor raiser. Pogba's a ceiling raiser. If you need someone like Bruno in your team to get it to a certain level, I think you need someone to get to a certain level, or you need someone you need a spine, you need a good centre back to get it to a certain level. Martial is the type of player that you put on the icing on the cake that just gets you that little bit more. Rashford is the type of player that gets you consistent top fours and stuff like that. I think he gets you consistent top 4, maybe potential league title challenge. Martial, you sprinkle on top just for that extra bit of magic.
Yeah,
I think it's the same problem we had with Pogba. We're asking for Martial. You're asking Martial to do everything when he's never going to be that player. I don't think Martial is ever going to be the player that, when the chips are down, shells out a hat trick. He won't be. You know, and I think technically he's a better footballer than Rashford, but I think Rashford is that type of player. When the teams are down, when the chips are down, he'll shell out a hat trick. I don't think Martial at this point is that player. And again, like he says, Sean's saying it's a luxury. And yeah, I think it's a luxury, but I think that people need to look at it in context. In terms of ability, there's not many players, it's like left wingers or strikers in the world that come close to Martial. There's literally not that many. So I think this Martial thing is a nuanced debate that it is like a multivariant equation that has a lot of different elements to it. And I feel like you've got one people in here, Martial FC, and you've got one people that hate Martial FC, and they're both trying to make their own point when realistically there's not really a right or wrong. I don't think there's a right or a wrong.
There's a wrong when the people on the hate side start going, "Oh, he's an absolute idiot. I hate him." That's
but
wrong.
I don't know what you think. Obviously, like, I'm white, but I think a lot of black players, if they're not smiling 24/7. I think they get it. Like I think Moise Kean, Moussa Dembele, Ousmane Dembele, Pogba. Like, it's quite consistent. Like if they're not, people said it with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They said he's got a poor attitude because he's not giddy all the time. The only players that don't get told that are people like Kante and Rashford when their whole brand is positivity. I think there's a little element of that. I don't know what you think. Obviously,
no. I don't really want to go down the racial route because it's going to be like it's just here we go, like, and I don't want to give But I'm going to be completely honest with you. There's situations where, if you look at Ravel Morrison, people listen to that podcast, Rio Ferdinand, right? Ravel Morrison came out and said, they said, so what are you doing for jobs now? What are you doing? What are you doing for teams? Is it hard to get a team? He said, well, people judge me based on my past. They judge me based on my past and how I look and what they're thinking about. And for someone to say that's been there, who's been in so many different leagues, who's went to West Ham, who's gone to Sheffield United, gone to all these different teams, for him to come out and say that it's based on his past and being judged on his past and what he looks like, that's someone who's saying that. It's like it's one of those situations, right? People are angry when Harry Maguire and John Stones hug and smile. But when you got someone who's come to work, I mean, they're serious. They don't smile because they come to freaking work. This is not a freaking game. You got Leighton Baines who came out and said, football's not my it's just a job to me. I play guitar at home. That's not be people. Martial, this is his football. This is his job. He's here to score. Don't tell me that he doesn't want to score. Don't tell me that he doesn't want to actually get a match ball and be the best player he can be. At the moment, it's a fact. He's not on good form. It happens to the best players in the world. Right now, as a fan base, we need to lift him up, not put him down. This is the thing, right? It'll be a completely different situation, Aidan, if we could say that Martial's a rubbish player in general. In general, he's never really scored 20 goals. His touch is rubbish. He didn't look good on the eye. And I can't see the quality. I just can't see the quality. That is not the case with Martial. It's not the case. So instead of trying to get rid of him and lose quality, right, and actually strengthen another team, because we all know he's got quality, why don't we try and figure out what the freaking issue is? Why don't we try and figure out how to unleash Martial and get him to get that hat-trick again when he scored 3 different types of goals? Why can't we get that Martial back? It is too petty and just so reactionary from the fan base. And I don't like it because these fans are the best fans in the world. We love our team so much. Why have we turned to being petty like this? Why have we turned? And you know what I love, right? This community that I've obviously started and stuff, they're open-minded. I've never seen any abuse to any players. I've never seen anybody say anything. They're just trying to put their thoughts in a nice, coherent way. I love it, and I'm glad that I've got some good people. If we look at here, Ankit's saying Martial might want to leave in the summer, not just for reasons of bad form in the fan base, but also the fact he might not be a regular start in the season. Yes, fine. If he leaves based on, look, I want a new challenge, I feel like I can do something in a different league, fine. But not based on, he's had a bad couple of games. He scored 2 less than the Cavani. He scored 2 less than the Cavani.
15 goals and assists.
It's 15 goals and assists, you say?
Got 8 assists.
Kliss, big up, guys. He's lost confidence. I believe the issue is lack of service. Kliss, that's the element of it. 100%. It's not all of it. He's definitely got a lack of service. There was about 1 chance in that game yesterday, 1 or 2 chances, and they'd be thinking that, he's got to do individual brilliance. This is what's happened, Aidan. We've got down to a point because the team's not functioning. We're not functioning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We now have to rely on individual brilliance. So people are saying that Martial needs to make something out of nothing or sell him. That is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. Because, again, I'm going back to the Ravel Morrison interview, bro. And he was talking, and he said that in England, I've been to loads of different domestic leagues in Sweden, in Dutch league and so forth. The English game is so overhyped in terms of what fans expect. The expectation from fans is ridiculous. He says, when you go to English football, the fans expect diagonal passes that are so hard, either needle passes. They want you to do flicking Cruyff turns, all this thing, and try and just do that individual brilliance. Over there, you look better by how you release the ball, how you make space, how you pass and move, how you do 1-2s. That's what makes good football, and that's why when we come up against these teams in these other leagues, apart from Real Sociedad, because they're stubborn, they start playing good football. And it's not like they've got these amazing Maradonas and all these one, rest in peace. They've got these amazing players that are just Ronaldinho's. It's because they play as a combined system, like a transformer, like a flicking Power Ranger. They come together.
They do, bro. They do, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I was going to ask, like, can you name me one player that's been consistent for 18 months since Alex Ferguson?
18 months consistent. Well, we can go through it. De Gea, no.
Apart from okay, no. Actually, no. De Gea
18 months in a row. No,
I think De Gea 18 months in. Okay, well, De Gea we could agree to disagree, but I'd say with Bruno, no one else. I don't think.
That's about it.
I think that's that. But I literally think that's the only answer you need to say. I think that's the only thing you need to say. There has not been a single player since they've come in that has done that. I think. Do you know what I find funny? Yeah, the only difference between Martial and Mkhitaryan is Mkhitaryan's got sold straight away. I think people see 5 years. Yeah, if you had Mkhitaryan stay 5 years, if you had Schweinsteiger stay 5 years, he'd have the same upwards and downwards trajectory.
Yeah,
I can't think of anyone that's been better good for 18 months. And the fact that probably the best example is a goalkeeper. That says all you need to know. Like, there is not one player that I look at and say for 18 months you were good. You were good. You were doing your job.
That's a problem.
It's like I feel like. Do you know what I feel like it is? Yeah. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. What does it tell you if Golden Ball winning or boy, whatever, Martial supposed to have touted for the Ballon d'Or, Paul Pogba supposed to be a generational midfielder, Falcao one of the best strikers ever, Schweinsteiger one of the best CMs ever? It's clearly not them. You could talk about all the deficiencies they have, but it's clearly not the players. There's literally Bruno, De Gea. Who else?
I can't think of anybody who's good. Guys, if you think you can think of anyone over the last 18 months that's been consistent, I mean, in terms of numbers, what they've been brought to do, tell us, because I'm struggling. Because this falls into the whole point of why are people going in so hard on Martial? I don't get it. Like, I know he's not playing well. Fine, let's lift him up. I know he's got a lower work rate than other people. That's not his game. We bought him knowing that. But he scored 23 goals doing that too. Is something got to change a little bit? Of course, we can say run. But you know what's weird, though? People keep saying he's got a low work rate at the moment. Yep, I agree. But I've seen Martial in so many games leading the press. How many times have we said, 100%. Oh, Martial's leading the press. People are now following him. Yes, Martial. I've seen Martial go, come on, quickly, press. What's changed now? Because now Martial is feeling something and he's changing the way he plays. Mario, thank you for joining, my brother. Hi, guys. Martial needs to unlock his confidence. Yes, football is a confidence game. We know it is. People watch Haaland back every week and get more upset about Martial. That's it. This is it. It's an emotional game. You're watching the game, and then in the same breath, you're seeing Haaland score goals for fun.
Yeah, but he'd do the same thing, bro. I'm telling you right now, Haaland, yes, would do better, but he'd end up with the actually, Haaland, in terms of like an all-round player, in terms of dribbling touch, he isn't Martial. He isn't. He's a ridiculously good finisher. He'd end up with the same issues. He would literally end up with the same issues. And like, I think Sean says, how much longer does he need to proper striker delivery can cut? But I think the thing is, like, I think every argument any person can put forward about a player gets null and void when you ask them the question, apart from De Gea, who's been good for 18 months. I'm telling you, there's not one player.
People are saying Luke Shaw, but Luke Shaw's only started being good.
Luke
Shaw's been good in the last 2 months,
fam.
Yeah, it did.
No, Ibrahimovic came in for a year, was good. Lukaku was here for a good. What happened? It went shit. Like every other player that comes to this club, it's not the players, it's the club. It is the club. And I'll say that till the day I die.
You know what it is, right, as well? That one thing about Ollie, right? We know he's under pressure too. And he's gone to the end of the season. We know that for a fact. They've not renewed his contract yet.
Yeah.
And we know they're seeing how the season plays out. I think for now, if Ollie doesn't get a trophy this season and we finish top 4, I think the board will keep him. And I don't think they should. I don't think that if we don't get any trophy this season and we just scrape top 4, I don't think we should keep Ollie. And I know Sean is and I'm not Ollie out in the slightest. I've said there's no point getting rid of Ollie if we haven't got the system and the structure in place for the next manager. There's no point if we haven't got the system and structure in place for the next manager. What is the point? But at the same time, just like I love talking about FIFA, I love flicking FIFA. If you don't, if the board will set you out expectations at the beginning of the season, it's just the same as FIFA. They'll say, we want you to achieve this. We want you to achieve this sort of revenue in shirts and sales. We want you to increase the youth, bring someone from the youth. You tick that box with Shaw Tie yesterday. They will they'll look at the end of the season and say, have you achieved enough objectives? If someone's available and they want him, Ollie will say, look, I've not achieved it. Maybe expect to find someone else. That's a fact. But this is the thing. Ollie's going to have to look at himself. But at the same time, I feel like Ollie's got more faith in Martial than the actual fan base. Have you noticed that?
Oh, 100%, bro, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? He keeps playing him. And I think people that don't like Ollie hate this too. Do you know what I mean?
No, bro. Like, it's funny because a lot of people that don't like Ole are quite like football purists, and they really like Martial because he is a football purist swinger. He's got everything you'd want from a footballer, really, in terms of a winger. But I think Martial. I think Ole does have a lot of faith in Martial. I think what Ole sees in Martial is he sees someone with incredible technical ability. He sees someone that has the potential to be the perfect striker in some aspect. I think the perfect modern striker. I'm telling you, Martial's perfect position. I think he's Firmino with better finishing. That's what I think he is. But I think he wouldn't have to be as creative because he'd have Pogba and Bruno behind him. I think, and plus we have fullback width, so it's a bit different. But I think the closest thing to Martial is probably Firmino. But then if you look at Firmino, he's got two wide strikers scoring all the time. So the criticism for him has only come after like a certain amount of time. And plus, he's always had crosses spammed into him. So, like, as I said, I'll go back to it. I can't really. It's like with Ole. I can't really criticize him that much. I can't really criticize a player that much because it happens to everyone that comes here.
Yeah,
it happens to everyone that comes here. The only player that was good for more than 18 months is De Gea. That is it. So I struggle to get. Someone says creating passing not on Bobby level. I agree with that, but then again. Martial, I think, is a better finisher than Firmino. And I think Martial can do stuff like dribbling. And I think that Watford thing that he did, I don't know if Firmino could do that. Yeah. So I think that's the closest thing if I could blueprint him on. It's probably Firmino, but a bit more advanced.
Yeah. No, guys, like the video. I appreciate you joining in. I just wanted to make sure this is clear that there's no point going in on Martial and saying, get out of our club. It makes no sense. The same Martial, if he comes back and finds his form, which is easily, he can do it, especially if the team start playing better as a whole, that would make it even easier. You'll be singing, oh, Tony Martial, we came from front.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be singing it. So it's just so hypocritical. And I know the guys in the community here and the ladies, if there's ladies watching as well, they're not so fast to react, but I've seen so many people on Twitter saying, what are you talking about? Didn't you see that Dan James when he tried to cross it in and Martial weren't there? I'm like, come on. That is literally, you're clutching there. We know he has a low work rate. We know he needs to try harder. But what you're doing as a fan base is not going to make the situation better. I could go through the whole team and say that there's players that are not performing. The whole team ain't performing. The whole team, bar a few players,
there's
not performing.
Like last season, let's put it last season, okay. So last season, Martial, Rashford and Fred were performing. But Maguire and Lindelof weren't. Maybe Bailly wasn't fit. Shaw wasn't good. You know, I think Wan-Bissaka was making constant mistakes. Now, Martial wasn't good. Rashford stepped up. Pogba stepped up.
Yep.
Shaw stepped up. But the next season, maybe Bruno will be crap. Maybe Rashford will be crap. And then Green will step up. Martial will step up. And you'll be in the same cycle over and over again of players coming good and then coming bad and then coming good and then coming bad. And it's the same thing with managers. And I think the earlier people accept that and realize that anything you say about any player could literally be said about the other. Like anything you say about Pogba as a criticism will probably end up happening to Bruno. But the thing is, Bruno will probably just leave. But then again, Sean says 5 years and no development. Can you tell me a player that's been in for 5 years and has developed?
Yeah, guys, have you got to talk about a player that's been in for 5 years and you've seen a massive development? I mean, they've been consistent. The numbers are crazy. They're doing things we've never seen before, and they've never had a bad match. They've never had a bad match.
Pogba's been here for 5 years. hasn't really got that much better. Shaw is getting better, but he's only been good for 2 months. So you can't start saying using Shaw as an example. You can't start using Shaw as an example. Smalling left. Again, Rashford's got better.
Rashford's been, for the last 5 years, Rashford's seen a massive development, and he's never had a bad patch. Well, he's definitely had a bad patch.
That's one player in 8 years. Then
yeah, that's what. So what does that say?
Right, that's one player in 8 years. It's the club. I'm telling you, it's the club.
We should have more people. Yeah, we should 100% have more people than just Rashford, who's seen a development over the last 5 years.
Let's think about like even like Liverpool over, let's say, the last 3 to 4 years. Firmino, Mane, Salah, Robertson, Trent. I could talk about Milner, Henderson. There's loads. Joe Gomez. There's loads of people I could think of.
You know what people are saying as well? Oh, mate, do you remember Nani? Do you remember Nani?
Yeah.
How good
that goal he scored when it was like, was it that top corner goal he scored in 08? Do you remember? You know the one I'm talking about?
Do you remember when against Arsenal when he was flicking, just doing his head ups and kicking it up?
Tried
to slide tackle him, like literally. Yeah. This is the thing. Like people, I think guys, I think we're clutching at straws here. I think we're really clutching to find something because we should have more people. I'm saying Rashford. Yeah, that's one player. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. Is it a ball fuzzy? Sorry if I've said your name wrong, my man. I'm very critical with Martial, but every striker since Alex Ferguson era does not get enough big chances at Man United. I agree. There's not enough.
Isn't he not doing what Lukaku did? He had one good season, and the next season just went to crap.
And everybody wanted to get rid of Lukaku. And I've seen people saying, "Oh, maybe he's better now." Like we're so inconsistent. We're so. You know what though? I'm trying to defend Martial, and I'll defend any player that I feel has got really good quality, and they've proved they've got quality previously. Like people might be like, "Oh, well, but what about Maguire?" Like I critique Maguire, I critique everyone, but I'm critiquing Martial based on the output he's given us before, based on the quality I know he has, and what I want him to get to. What we're doing right now is not going to help Martial get back to it. I'm seeing Sean saying, "I've lost faith in him." How's that going to help him if you say you've lost faith in him? A player who's freaking done, he's got us so many penalties this season, and no one's talking about that. The trickery that he has in the box. I've not seen a lot of people do that apart from Rashford. But
okay, well, let's say you get rid of them. If you got rid of Martial, like who would you have left? If you got rid of Martial, if you got rid of Martial, let's think about this. If you got rid of Martial, you got rid of Fred, you got rid of Pogba, you got rid of Lindelof, you got rid of De Gea, you got rid of who else? There's other players that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah.
Who the hell would you have left? I know you're telling me. I think is out of all those players, think about it. Lindelof, De Gea, Martial, Pogba, and Fred. All of those players can play in the top team.
Wait a minute. Was it Jacob, my man, saying Lukaku is far better than Martial? We sold Lukaku.
No. Lukaku does not. Lukaku does not have the natural technical ability. When I'm talking about dribbling, when I'm talking about first touch, when I'm talking about spontaneity of intricate skills, he doesn't have that. What Lukaku does have is an ability to have a good output in terms of his finishing and in terms of the positions he occupies in the box. But you've got to think about Conte. Look at Conte. Look at their team. They have an informed Barella. They have Hakimi. They have Young. They have Darmian. They have wing-backs to provide width for Lukaku to get on the end up. And he has a second striker partner that works incredibly well with Conte. And he has a system. You can't compare Lukaku to Martial here. If Martial went to Inter, he would shell it out. It's been a good system where he's provided with chances. Lukaku may be more effective than Martial, but I've never denied that.
Yeah, no.
It's a silly comparison. It'd be like comparing Pogba to Fred.
Yeah, I don't like
different players
because I don't like comparing. It's so easy to say that. It's a different team, different situation, different mentality. If teams are winning, obviously you know the confidence is up. You play better. Inter Milan have got used to Conte's style, and he does coach the team. It's a coaching team. They're in a completely different mindset. It's too hard to say that. But I get what you're saying, Jacob. You do look at past players and now players, and you try to make a comparison. I get it. It's just, look, this is how we're feeling. I've been supporting United since 2013, and ever since just been disappointed. Mate, I've been supporting them for a lot longer than that, bro. And it's been, my man, I've been watching them since God knows how many years. Like, it's not been good. It's not been good. Martial was our player of the season. This is what I mean. It's just so fickle. Like, Katie Oliver thinks you come in, if we're gonna get rid of Martial, we need a replacement lined up and ready to come in. Can't be having the same.
Oh yeah, that's such a good point.
It's a very good point. Thank you, Katie, for that. Like this is the same thing with Ollie. People are like, oh, get rid of Ollie, get rid of Ollie. If he doesn't do his expectations, fine. I understand that. He'll either leave himself or the board will say you haven't reached our expectations, you have to go. But who is there? Who is ready and waiting with a plan and a DOF and a structure and a coaching team? There's not a lot of managers because I'll be honest with you, the managers out there, this is a big job. Brendan Rodgers came from, where he came from, Aidan? He came from Celtic, right? Was it Celtic or Rangers?
Well, he came from Liverpool and then went to Celtic. I think he went to...
yeah, and remember when he joined, right, people were like, oh my gosh, he's taking a step down going to Leicester. But it was a challenge for him, right? And look what he's got them now. But you can't get some people that go from a middle team and go straight to the top. Sometimes it's hard. Look at Lampard. Lampard's got eaten alive. It's a big job. It's a big job. So 100% Katie, we need to have someone lined up. But for me, people could just start saying names now. Oh yeah, there's loads. Oh yeah, all right. But
it's not with Martial's skill set.
Yeah, it's not easy finding players and relying on the board to get the right players. It's not going to be easy. It's not. If you look at Lukaku, chat pissed me off.
Yeah, exactly.
How annoyed we were at him. I know his first touch.
It's the same thing with Martial right now. It's literally the same thing. There's no difference.
Yeah, no, we can't be talking about that. Martial's Glazers out. Martial's conversion rate gone up from 30% up in there in Europe and 13% this season. Well, there you go. Lukaku didn't suit our system. Lukaku's overrated. Yeah, I think Lukaku's overrated. Lukaku's a bang average footballer. No,
I'd actually, do you know what I'd ask? I'd ask how many of you watched the Milan derby and how many of you have actually watched more than one game of Serie A? So I don't think one of the people who've watched more than one game of Inter can actually say that.
I think what happens is people basing it on Manchester United, not what he's doing in Italy. They're basing it on his career at Manchester United because
he's changed.
He's changed. He's playing a completely different system, isn't he? Carlo Ancelotti in. I've rated him, but I just can't keep just seeing different managers come in all the time. Like I just can't. It's just going to be like, oh, we got to get rid of all the towels, put new drapes up, new curtains, and we put this a fifth set of curtains. It's just getting boring. We've got to work with what we've got and make it better. Aiden and Dom, I would only take Haaland, Toro Martinez over Martial. Yeah, but mate, I can see a cycle happening in that we get someone in, and then in a year's time, 2 years' time, we're saying the same thing about
I'm telling you, if we got Lautaro Martinez in, Lautaro Martinez technically is not doesn't have more ability than Martial. I'll tell you that for one thing. If we got Lautaro Martinez in, he'll bag a few goals, but then he'll start being starved of chances.
Yep.
I think you're forgetting he has people like Vidal and Barella, and then Hakimi and people like put them on the wing backs they play. Perisic off the left wing back. Like, bruv, who do we have? Wan-Bissaka and Dan James. You think they're going to be providing him the amount of service that Barella and Hakimi do? No, they're not, mate.
It's true. So, Lukaku scored everywhere, but at United, everyone performs everywhere. Makes you wonder. This is a very good point.
Pogba performs everywhere apart from United. Makes you wonder.
There's a lot of players we could talk about that left our team and played better somewhere else. And don't get me wrong, all I care about is Manchester United. But you start to look at the trends and you start to think, are we space jamming players? I say this all the time. When I say space jam, they touch the ball and all their power goes and they're just playing like this. Are we starting to space jam some players? Because I've seen... Say again?
How much should we... maybe in a minute go through which players have done that.
Let me get a list up of who the players that we've sold.
Okay. I think Young has gone on and done better.
He's played well.
Lukaku has gone on and done better.
Yeah.
Smalling has gone on and done better. Sanchez has gone on and done better.
Smalling. We wanted Smalling.
Huh?
We wanted Smalling. Do you remember? We were like, let's get him back.
Bro, I'm telling you, I remember I actually met him, funnily enough. He was doing an interview at the Tate in London, which is where I live in North London. And I met him, and this was in 18-19. It was about May. And I said, I was in June, actually. I said, you like happy you're going to stay? I was like, and he was like, yeah, he said he was going to stay. So at that point, he thought he was going to stay. And it was in June. I think it was the 18th of June I went.
Yep.
So they don't have a plan, but I don't know if you can bring up those players, Dom.
Hey, you got Memphis to pay, right? The guy went on
shelling out Leon, doing incredible at Leon.
Michael Keane is what never gets talked about because he's solid at Everton. Never gets talked about. He, how many people would want Michael Keane over Harry Maguire? Let me know what you say.
Loads of people would.
How many people would feel safer if Keane was playing over Maguire? Let me know. Angel Di Maria, he's gone and flicking.
Look at what he's done at PSG. He's been incredible. He's been world class.
Wilfred Zaha is basically carrying Palace for how many years, mate? If
Evans,
you go back
there in the comment,
PK, he's been Barcelona's like freaking rock for so freaking long.
So long.
Mate, the players that we I don't know what's going on, and I feel like if Martial went to another team, people would be like, "Oh well, you know, whatever." That means it just shows you weren't trying at Manchester United. A player does not want to try. Are you joking me? This is their future, their family. They're trying to put money on the table for by playing well.
So I'm not going to put the ball in the back of the net because I don't want to. Like, why would you say that, bro? Why would you say that? Think logically, yeah. This guy grew up in like the suburbs of Lyon. I think he grew up in. Why would you think? Yeah, I don't want to score. Why would I want to score? I became a footballer for no reason. Like, bro,
yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm being honest with you. It's harder not to score. Like if you're in a really good opportunity, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, then it is to not score. It's hard. If you're in front of goal, it's harder to put it above the goal than it is in. It's harder.
Mate, I just look. Adam was saying it well. He said the fan base so hypocritical, or hypocrites, that when a player performs elsewhere, they say, "Good for him. He didn't fit our system." Irony.
We play without one. That is one of the best comments I've seen. That is one of the best comments.
Mate, Adam before, mate. He's a good guy. Like honestly, Chris is saying if we had a deal with, they would recruit players better suited to us, but that's a wider issue. We can't forget that. What Marshall? Thank you, Chris. Chris, my brother. We can't forget what he's done. Like, come on, guys.
What,
like,
do you remember Everton? Do you remember Everton? Martial! And he just bangs it in the corner.
All the people that are saying Martial needs to go, sell him, he's rubbish, he don't run. If he scores and comes back and does a hat-trick, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear that. Oh, just trying to make you better, mate. Oh, he came from France, had no chance. Blue, blue. I don't want to hear it. You've not been backing him to try and get him to a better place.
And there's nothing wrong with not believing that a player is good. Like, for example, I don't believe that Harry Maguire is good. I could still means if he does well, I can praise him. But what I would never say about Maguire is that, like, I never want him to do well. I think that's the difference. If you say you don't want him to do well, then just like if in an ideal world, I'd sell Maguire. But if he came down the next day and said, "Oh, I'm gonna shell it out for the rest of the season," I'd be like, "Brilliant, go." But people don't even want him to. There's people that would rather Martial do crap. I'm like, bro, what is that?
But you know the difference between Harry Maguire and Martial? Guys, don't forget to like the video if you haven't. It really helps. And subscribe if you're new. We appreciate you coming. I love chatting about this because I can see that everyone's saying really nice comments and justified and comments. There's not any stupid comments out there, so I really appreciate that. Like
someone just put Maguire then a clown emoji.
Yeah, I love that. The time is perfect. I love it. But if you look, the difference I see between Maguire and Martial is because Martial's proved he can do it. When he scored 23 goals last season and what player of the season, it proves he can do it. The problem with Maguire, he's not proved it yet. He's not been here long enough to prove it. So we're basing him on the 80 million we bought him for, and the hope that we had he would be. We bought him because in England he was scoring headers for fun. We bought him because he had that touch and that calmness and that presence and that build and that sort of eye for goal that we wanted to see him. We have not seen it. So when we're talking about Maguire, we're not seeing the fruit of what we freaking paid. Do you know what I mean? We're not seeing it. Someone said, sometimes I feel Maguire's playing against us. Like, freaking hell.
See the comment about Maguire, the vibes.
Would you say, can we let Maguire go to Greece with Arsenal? They can drop him off the Oh, come on, vibes. Come on, vibes. It's all friendly banner. It's all friendly.
No, that one that Carl Lewis put yesterday. After seeing that, I'm now an atheist.
Oh, yeah, Carl Lewis. Sean's saying Martial's not proved he can be consistent. Who's been consistent? No, we've talked about this. Who's been consistent? Who's been consistent?
If this brother brings up Fred or something or Lee Grant, I swear down, bro. His brother brings up Lee Grant.
Honestly, Sean, I understand what you're saying, mate. But name me 5 players in Manchester United that have been consistent. I'll give you one to start. Bruno. All right, who you got left? Let me know. 4 other people, man.
The thing is, yeah, Bruno's only been here for a year, so it's wholly possible that he does another 3 months and just, you know what happened? Yeah, I can only imagine Bruno just goes 5 games without scoring. Bruno out. I don't like Bruno. Bruno out.
You know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy, Aiden? Bruno, he's so good and so effective. But if you took away the penalties and it was just Bruno doing these crazy passes that never came off,
he doesn't have a good overall
saying, no. Get rid of him. He's too big. But because he's so effective, he's so damn good that even when he's not playing amazing, he still scores. Bruno had a terrible game last.
How did you manage that? That was crazy, man.
He had a terrible game, but he still managed to get an assist and get a penalty and a goal. I freaking love him.
Yeah.
But the problem is he's tinkering on the edge, because if he's not scoring or assisting and playing the way he played over a 10-game period when it's just like touch and go, loose passes, he's trying to these random like first-time passes when the picture's changed. No one has been consistent in this team. So why are we going for Martial? Is it something different? Is it something that we're all thinking about but no one's talking about? Is it deeper than that? Because there's a little bit of a consistency that I'm seeing who people start to target. Have we seen what players, right, Aiden, in the last, say, a year or a half or whatever, what players have been targeted?
Okay. Pogba, Martial. Okay, so Pogba for being lazy.
Targeted, like get out of our club.
Yeah, get out of our club. Martial for being lazy. You know, I saw some guy, I joke about it, this guy who was like, yeah, Martial's a bit too urban for me. And I was like, oh my God. And he said that. No, but you know what he wants to say, but he's just like, I can't say it.
Right.
You know exactly what he's trying to say.
I'm guessing he's not going to Fernando's then, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then also probably Shaw. People called him fat all the time. Maguire, understandably, really, like if we're honest. Probably De Gea at the moment is being scapegoated. I think Rashford has been at times.
Maguire has been targeted as well.
Yeah, Maguire.
Have you seen what did you see the underlying thing here? These are all the players that have been brought in for big money and have high expectations, but have not made it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Underlying thing. They've all been brought in, right? Maguire, massive fee. And now he's people, amount of abuse Maguire gets. I'll get out of the club, so forth. Wait, Jacob, I'm not going to put this up, mate, but I've never said about this is about racism. I don't know where you've got that from, bro. And you're one of the good ones, so let's just leave that. I never said about racism. I'm talking about how much they come into the club for, their expectations.
Dom's never ever said anything like that.
We didn't just talk about black players. We said De Gea and we said Maguire.
Yeah, I said Shaw because he'd been called fat. That's what I said.
And Shaw as well. So I don't know where that racism suggestions come from, bro. So I'm not sure what you're talking about there, mate. So we've got De Gea, Maguire, Rashford, Pogba, Martial. All these people are part of bar Rashford, but Rashford's got that expectation going along it. All the people with the highest expectations or bigger transfer value, people are always finding a way to bring them down. But why would you bring them down when they're our most influential and best players? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know, bro. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think the problem is, I think just in the world, there's a load of people you can't reason with. They can't come and have a balanced argument that's succinct and acknowledges both sides. They just can't. And I think that's a massive issue. But if someone said look, Maguire's come in and played really poorly, and I didn't really like him, I've not nothing against him, but I don't like him, that's fine. But people will just come and say, I hope Maguire bloody does X or Y, I hope he dies or something like it. So
I don't like it. And that's why I feel like there's these hidden agendas against players where people go for their families or they're doing this. Let's stick to the football. Let's understand what is. So Sean's saying, Dom, give me another player that starts for us that's had 5 years to prove themselves. Give me another.
We're not suggesting that they need 5 years to prove themselves. That's not what we're saying.
No, not
in
at
an
all.
ideal world, I'd say Man United players 2 to 3 max seasons really to prove themselves. All I'm saying is that there is no player. I couldn't even say for 3 seasons. Maybe you could lower it to 3 seasons. Really, so what you're saying? Okay, get rid of Martial. What I'm saying with the 5 years argument, what evidence is there that you have to tell me that someone is going to come in and perform for 4 to 5 years like we need? There's no evidence, and that's what I'm saying, Sean. I'm not saying, and to everyone else in the comments, I'm not saying that Martial, that you need 5 years to perform. It should be within 2, really. Should be within 2. I'm saying that there's no evidence for anyone to tell me that any player will perform for that degree of time. Where is the evidence?
You know what, Jacob? This is a good point, bro, and I'm glad you put this up. Right, Martial doesn't suit us. Why not just move on? You know what? Right, again, no player for me is bigger than the club. No player is bigger than the club. I want the club to literally get the best it can and to perform the best it can. But you know the problem is, right, Jacob, and why this is a great question, is because the whole team is not playing well. Basically, it's basically 2 players. So you basically say the whole 9 players don't suit us. Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly, bro. This is what I'm saying. It's like Maguire. We're going to just go on the field. We're just going to go on the field. It's going to be just Bruno. It's just Bruno by himself. It's going to be okay. Okay. Lindelof doesn't suit us. Maguire doesn't suit us. Martial doesn't suit us. Rashford doesn't suit us. Pogba doesn't suit us.
You're basically being either side. Like I get it, Jacob. This is a great point. But what player at the moment is playing well that suit us? Because at the moment we're not playing good football, bro. I know we're second. It's great, but I always think about long term. Long term, what we're doing game to game is not going to help us. We got to think long term. So if Martial didn't suit us, that means Maguire didn't suit us. Fred,
imagine Bruno coming up by himself. Yeah, no, literally. Like, if you're going by that argument, then literally Rashford and Bruno would come out, and sure, and that would be it. We'd have no keeper, we'd have no centre backs, we'd have no right back, we'd have no Pogba, we'd have no Rashford, we'd have no Martial.
We wouldn't have a manager.
Bro, we wouldn't have a stadium or the owners, mate. We'd just be playing on a field.
All the Ollie out would say, well, Ollie doesn't suit us. Was like, well, who's managing the team then?
Yeah, bro. Oh, yeah, the stadium needs an extension. It needs maintenance. Get rid of the stadium. Just play on the grass.
No, I hear you, man. I'm just trying to just think about it like in a good way and coherently, and look at both sides. It's just hard. Adam, no one suits us if you go on that basis. Yeah, that's it's hard, man. I know what Jacob's saying. Like in this current system of where we just need to work, basically, it's come down to people just need to run and work hard. In that way, Martial doesn't suit us because at the moment we're trying to find form by just running down the ball and working as hard as possible. But when it comes to football, some teams that work harder than other teams don't always win. Some teams that actually play better football win. It's not always come down to how much you run and how many miles you run.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about the football.
Barcelona never worked hard. Barcelona let the ball do. I remember I got a lesson when I was really young. I still remember. Shout out to Mr. Games, my teacher from when I was in primary school. He said to me, he said, yeah, he was a sick guy. At least he used to teach us football and stuff. But he kicked the ball across the playground, and he got someone to run with the ball. He said, race the ball. What happened? The ball won. He said, guys, the ball will always win. Passing is the most important thing. The ball should do the work. Do you think Barcelona did a lot of work? Does Iniesta look like an athlete, bruv? Got a receded hairline, skinny guy, probably got a pot belly. He's one of the best footballers ever in this beautiful game because the ball did the work. So you know what I mean? Like,
and I said no one suits us on that basis. No one has a position nailed down. No one is consistent. No one performs. This is the thing. We're in it. And this is why I keep saying about Martial. This show was about the Martial slander. Guys, I understand he's not playing well. The work rate is not good enough. He's not running enough. He's not wanting it enough. He's sulking. I get it. But getting rid of him is not going to help anything because there's other players that are not playing well. There's other players that are not stepping up. There's other players that are not doing individual brilliance. There's other players hitting each other when they're going for the same ball. Like, there's problems all around the pitch. Martial is not the biggest issue at this club.
No, he's not.
It's not. It's the board, it's the structure, it's the type of football we're playing, it's the identity we have. Martial is not the issue. Getting rid of Martial is not going to make us win games. That's it. Getting rid of Martial is not going to make us start winning 10 games in a row. It's not. It's not going to make us a better team playing without Martial. It's not, because we need the options. We need the quality. When the football gets better, the quality of Martial will get better, but he does need to step up for himself. We would win the title if we were in the 90s. The time wasn't about tactics, mentality, raw quality, and who wants it more. Football has changed big time. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, you new guys. Appreciate that, Ian, as always. Cliss, the system means the most new players. The system means most new players struggle to break in and hit the ground running. Yeah, honestly. Wait a minute. I'm trying to get to Sib. Have I missed your comment, Sib? Let me see if I can find it, mate. I think I might have lost it. I'll write again, Sib, and we'll talk about it. Just to kind of round off a little bit. I think we're in a situation, right? What's our next game? We've got Real Sociedad.
And then Chelsea
come up for that one. But Ollie's come out and said that Amad Diallo and Shortai are not going to start. The fan base didn't take that very well.
Why?
The fan base did not take that well. I don't care about Shortai. He's just started. He's fine. He'll get.
Why can Diallo not start?
Amad Diallo against 4-0, and I'm sure he'll get some game time. But he said, I don't think that's. He said, I think it'll be too harsh for them. What's harsh about playing Real Sociedad?
No. Do you know what the thing is? Like with players like Diallo, yeah. Like all I say, if you take 100 youth players, there might be one or two that from day one they're ridiculous and they can absolutely shell out the league. There will always, by law of averages, there will be. There is a complete chance that Diallo could be completely ready right now and could come in and shell out. Of course, like 90% that he won't. But you always need to give the player a chance.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, there would have been no Messi. There would have been no Ronaldo. There would have been no Mbappe. You've got to give him a chance. Mbappe wouldn't have been shelling out the Champions League if he wasn't given a full 90.
Rashford wouldn't have done it.
We wouldn't have Rashford. We wouldn't have guy right there, Martial. We wouldn't have them.
Bro,
so I think we need to try him.
What is this? Exactly.
Bro, he scored for Atalanta. Like he's played in the Champions League and was good. So I don't know. Like
I think maybe like he doesn't know. He's a bit scared to play him. I don't know. I think he's
what's he scared about? Like we ain't going to concede. I know Lindelof, Maguire. Actually, you know what? Probably Twanzebe and Bayer going to start to do a better job. But we're not going to concede 5 goals. Like come on, bro. We're not going to concede 5 goals. We're not going to concede 5 goals. There's no way we're conceding 5. So there's no reason for when is this the last time we conceded 5?
Yeah, no, we have to. I'm sorry. Wait a second. NM, big up, guys. My man, what's going on, NM? Martial going through a rough patch. Of course, Ollie's system is killing him, but how some fans give him million excuses and bash Rashford to try and defend Tony is just ridiculous. Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, but that's the FC stuff.
Wait a minute. Martial going through a rough patch. Of course, Ollie's system is killing him, but how fans give million excuses, bash Rashford to try and defend Tony. Yeah, no, This is a situation. I don't think anybody should be bashing anybody. That sounds weird, but no one should be going in on no one should be going in on anyone. Like no one should be going in anyone of when they've proved they've got quality. You got the giggles now, mate. No one should be doing that when you got quality. You know what? Like going on someone when they've literally haven't proved themselves. They're unreliable. They keep making mistakes. The first person that comes to mind, Maguire, we bought him with a high expectation. But with Rashford and Martial, they've both been through bad patches. They've both been through it. So I'm not making an excuse for Martial. I know he's not been great, but we need to lift him up rather than push him down because he's one of our good players and he's proved it. He is a top quality player. Why are we pushing him down? So stop all this. Rashford, this and that. For our players that have done it before, that we rely on, that are good, big them up and try and get them playing football again. Don't put them down. For players that haven't proved themselves, they're trying to find it, still big them up, but they're going to understand that they're going to be in for some criticism because of the high expectation.
Trust me, bro. That
comes with that. Harry Maguire, I've got nothing against him. I hope he's a great guy. He's got a great family. I hope he's having a happy life. But based on football, and that's what I critique, I need more from him as our captain. As our highest value defender, as what I saw him do in England. I need more from you, Harry. That's all I'm saying. I need more from you. And with Rashford, I want more from Rashford too, and I want more from Martial. But I ain't going to put them down. I'm not going to put them down. That's the most important thing. Guys, don't forget to like the video. I appreciate you so much. And you were so good. And then I was talking about others trying to Sean and bring other players down. Yeah, I know. I hear you, man. I hear you, NM. I appreciate you. You're always a good guy, man.
Yeah. You're a G.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to come in to the match preview for Real Sociedad. I might make it a bit fun because we're 4-0 up, so we might do some new content around that and get some new people on just for jokes. But don't forget to smash the like. Trying to get up to 500 subscribers. Help us do that. That would be amazing. Don't forget to follow Aiden on Twitter, UTD Aiden, right on that screen. You'll get some good quality content from him. He tweets all hours of the day. So if you can't sleep at night, he'll be up saying, ask me a question.
I always do that. I get some of the maddest questions. So propaganda for some players then.
Yeah, hey man. Aiden, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, man. Guys, have a freaking wonderful evening, whatever you're doing. Thanks so much for joining. As always, we love you guys. Peace out. A-Town down. Peace.